that kind of third base, which sits right below your main base on Polar Knight. I really like those moves by him.
It's really tough. As a Protoss player, you're not like Terran. You don't have scans. You have to keep an observer with your army. You really have to go and clear out that creep. Otherwise, the Zerg has such good vision, such good map control and awareness. It really puts you in a much harder position.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's something that is generally underestimated amongst the Zerg players, especially beginning Zerg players, is you get that speed bonus, but that vision that you're talking about, just knowing what's happening and knowing what's coming well before it hits your base, is so crucial as Zerg.
So right now, looks like Sir Malkit is getting his Robotech up. His expansion is finally done. He needs to start populating that with workers. He's finishing up. I think that's a full wall off the front of his base.
Yeah, that's definitely a full off. You can see that these Zerglings are cooking about, kind of wondering what's going on. And it looks like Sir Maligan is feeling a little exposed.
It is a very unusual play that we're seeing out of Sir Maligan here.
It really makes me wonder, especially with these gas going up, if Sir Maligan's going to be going some sort of Stargate play. If he's just doing that to buy himself a little bit of time before the rocks go down, or if he's just using that as an extra line of defense.
The real question, of course, is if Freedom is going to scout over to the left and see that robo. Right now, he has no idea that it exists.
And this could be the start of that dreaded two-base Immortal all-in that every Zerg player is just so afraid of. It's so hard to hold unless you spot it perfectly, you're ready, you build your units for it.
Yeah, the only piece that I think is really missing here is Sir Malgant has not opted to get the +1 attack upgrade, which is pretty key for this to be a successful push.
Yeah, and you can see that he has this forge sitting up in the upper right corner of the base, but he hasn't done anything with it yet besides drop a single cannon at his natural.
And that's a pretty big investment just to get nothing out of but a cannon. You really want to get those upgrades going, very least get that +1 attack, especially against Zerg.
Definitely, and you can see that Zerg himself is dropping his 2 evolution chambers. Let's see what he's going to go ahead and drop with that on these upgrade front. And he's put so much money.
I like how he is researching Burrow. I feel like this is super underutilized by the Zerg players. That's so effective. It's Cloak. You have free Cloak for all of your units. Even at the pro level, I feel like it's really underutilized and can be so painful to deal with.
Definitely. We'll see if he can go ahead and make use of that as we got this Warp Prism with 2 Immortals moving out across the left side of the map. So hopefully with some nice Burrow micro, we might be able to have this held off rather easily.
It's an interesting move. I'm not sure how I feel about it. It exposes those Immortals a little bit, but they can do so much damage. And then if he pushes at the front at the same time, like it appears he's doing, it can really be difficult for the Zerg to deal with.
And we can see that Sir Maligan is committing to this, warping some units in at that Warp Prism and going for a pincher maneuver on both sides.
Yeah, that's so many sentries. This push is really working out beautifully for him. This is going to be incredibly difficult for Freedom to deal with.
I definitely agree with this push by Sir Maligan. This is going to be super cool, though. He spent a lot of force field energy early on, and we can see right now he's trying to protect those Immortals with it.
He's doing a good job, though. He has so many sentries, he can just keep those force fields coming. I do kind of like the ninja hatchery on the right that Freedom is building. I think he's kind of accepted that he's going to lose this one. Oh, but he's getting great surrounds on those sentries. If he can pick those off and eliminate all those force fields, it's going to make his army much stronger and really make it harder for the Protoss player to fight effectively.
Yeah, unfortunately, it just doesn't look like Freedom has enough stuff. He's got those Immortals in the back just firing away on these roaches, and it looks like Freedom's going to have to retreat.
Yeah, the real key that I think, as a Protoss player, I see most Zergs doing incorrectly is they fight way too hard to try to keep this dirt alive, and they sacrifice way too many units, instead of just shoring up their defenses at their natural, so that they can stay alive for the long haul.
Yeah, I definitely wonder what's going to happen, too, with these units that he just burnt the hatchery with, because this is a big, scary army, and 2 Spine Crawlers, 4 Zerglings, and a couple Roaches. I don't know if that's going to cut it.
Personally, what I would do is I would pick up those Immortals, go into the natural, work at a sentry, force field the ramp, and just go to town.
Yeah, and as a Zerg, that is so frustrating. There's just
That's
not much to do.
oh, there you go, man. That burrow is just paying for itself. I do think he should have popped back up and taken a few shots. He's exposed the burrow, so now an observer is coming. But all of those roaches are just sitting there healing up nice and safe for now.
And we can see right now, back at home, while those battles sitting at a standstill, that Freedom is going for a Spire right now, which is directly competing with the Robo Bay of Sir Maligan.
Spire's because he's trying really hard to snipe that Warp Prism. He got the Mothership Core, but Warp Prism continues to live, and this is going to be tough. Sir Maligan is ahead in supply. I don't know if Freedom can do this.
This is a really bad position to be as a Zerg, and you can see that he's pulling drones off the line right now, trying to get a surround. He's got some roaches in the back firing away, but I don't know.
Yeah, I like the worker pull. I'm just not sure that it's enough. With those all those reinforcing stalkers here, I think this is going to be it. I think this is going to be game, and we're going to move on to a game number 3.
Yeah, 24 workers killed. Overlords are starting to go down. This could be very, very bad. I think Freedom might have it done.
Maybe he's going to lose his natural here. I mean, he does still have 2 other bases hidden around the map, but I don't think it's going to matter.
Yeah, unfortunately, he just doesn't have the minerals to do anything. He's got 1 mining base, no drones at any of the other bases, and I don't know how he's going to...
Oh, he almost got the Warp Prism. There's the GG. Sir Maligan tied up the series with a somewhat unorthodoxly executed, but very effective Immortal Sentry LA.
That was beautiful. I was really happy that Sir Maligan did that. That's the kind of stuff that he needs to really claw himself back in. And right now, you can see that the set is tied 1-1.
That's a fantastic move for Sir Maligan. Really just brought him back in it, and now like this is it. This is game point.
Yeah, we'll see what both players are thinking right now. I wonder if Sir Maligan's going to go ahead and try to take Freedom on with a macro game that did this game, or if he's going to use the same strategy in game 2, right? I mean, don't fix what ain't broke.
Absolutely. Now, I'm not sure who gets to pick this map.
Let's see what tournaments we got. Looks like we're going on to Frost LE, picked by Freedom.
It's an interesting choice.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that Freedom is much more comfortable in the macro game. So Frost with many expansions and just big long rush distances. This is his home.
Yeah, and I mean this is at least less of a powerful map for that Immortal Sentry play. You know, you can really try to optimize those surrounds.
Absolutely, and that's actually a really good point too with Frost, is that we have all sorts of open ground in that mid game. So if you catch a Protoss army moving across the map, that can be good night.
Absolutely. You know, I used to do that Immortal Sentry build all the time. It was my go-to PvZ build, and you know, some speedlings catching you in the middle of the map, and you would just cry yourself to sleep at night.
You gotta tell me how to defend that one. That's the one I still lose to on the ladder all the time.
It's a little bit trickier than it's funny because you know the big variation on it, of course, is Naniwa's Immortal Zealot all in, which is my primary play, but it's a little bit easier to deal with that. Like the Zealots hit harder and faster than sentries do, but there's no force fields and Zealots don't shoot up, so a couple of mutas can shut it down really effectively. Sentries, however, do shoot up and have Guardian Shield and have force fields, so it's much harder to find the right answer that isn't just, you know, getting that really good surround while they move across map. I think it's more of a harassment issue than anything else.
Absolutely. Now, we can see we just go ahead and spawn in. We're going to have close positions on this map with Sir Maligan on our right-hand side being our green Protoss player. And on the left-hand side, we can see KJ Freedom being our orange Zerg.
So based on what you've seen so far, the past two games, what's your prediction here? Who's going to bring home the final win?
Man, that's a tough one. See, Freedom, I really liked his macro play in the first game. I thought it was very solid. But I think that Sir Malagant, if he goes with that cheesier build, Freedom might just not be prepared for it. I think his forte is a little bit of that expand all over the place style. And if Freedom, especially since we don't have cross spawns, can go ahead and hit early and hit often, I don't know. Oh, excuse me, Sir Malagant can hit early.
I've got to be honest, but I would really love to see, I don't think we're going to, but what I'd love to have seen was a cannon rush on this map.
Yeah, this one's sneaky too. There's so many places to hide a cannon.
It's a great map. Now, what's the risk, of course, is this being a four-player map. Freedom could go for, just a double hatch before pool.
Absolutely, and especially if Malagant scouts in the wrong direction, then you can have your econ up and rolling before the Protoss even knows what's happening.
The downside, of course, is if he does get that scout and Freedom takes that greedy build, and he's definitely going hatch first, it does open himself up to be punished.
Absolutely, and we can see that Freedom just dropped his gas, so he's expecting a little bit of tech coming soon. We'll see if it's going to go into roaches or speedlings or what.
Yeah, I do like the speedling play. This map, the choke, unfortunately, can be walled off. Well, unfortunately. Fortunately if you're a Protoss player, unfortunately if you're not, it can be walled off pretty easily. However, I do think this would be a pretty good map if you wanted to go for some sort of crazy Baneling bust.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. So you think just go ahead and run up and bust him open, because obviously our Protoss player isn't going for anything super crazy, super defensive.
Yep, I think give you a couple of Banelings and some Slowlings to back them up, just bust down that front door, run into that middle line.
Absolutely. Now, I think that it was a really wise move by Sir Malagant to go ahead and throw down that Cybernetics core to just for that extra defense in case we get some Banelings coming in, some sort of early aggression or speedling all in, which is very common on four-player maps.
Absolutely, and of course it does look like that is the opening that Freedom is opting for. Speedlings are almost never a bad choice.
Absolutely, and especially with that map control that Speedlings give you, that's just so fantastic. You can block off hatcheries and really require that the Protoss push out with an army to kind of get you away.
Now it does look like Sir Malagant is gearing up. He's going to take his expansion in just a moment.
Absolutely. And we'll go ahead and see if Freedom spots that. I'm pretty sure that he had the inkling that it was going down.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when he got pushed off by that, his Overlord got pushed off by that Stalker in the Mothership Core, it makes it pretty clear what's happening. What's interesting is, of course, that it looks like Sir Malagant's going to try to snipe that Overlord.
Yeah, and this is something that, as a Zerg player, can be super frustrating when you lose that Overlord and you were anticipating only needing to build one Overlord, but now you can see that Freedom needs to build two.
Yeah, that snipe was really nicely done. You don't usually see the Protoss player commit to that much, because if there were a couple of Speedlings out on the field already, that Stalker would have been trapped. But in the end, that paid off.
And we can see right now that Freedom's going to go ahead and take all that extra money he's been banking and drop a third. Oh, or maybe not.
It's interesting. I'm not sure what his plan is, and he's droning up pretty heavily. Of course, at the same time, we're seeing sentries come out, we're seeing the Robo Bay come out. It's entirely possible that Sir Malagant might just be gearing up for this Immortal Sentry push again.
Absolutely, and if that's the case, we can see there's that forge, that awkwardly timed forge coming out.
The third base has been dropped for Freedom. It's a kind of an interesting location.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's his rationale behind this. I guess that he's just looking for a bit of a closer rush distance to his natural, something a little bit more in line.
Also, I think this third is much harder to force field off. You notice he's even pre-clearing the destructible rocks from his ramps. This is to make sure that if that Immortal Sentry element does come, he has a whole lot of surface area to work with.
Absolutely, and for such a powerful push, you need that room to play with. And you can see he just scouted the Protoss front door, so
That said, the Protoss is now throwing down the Colossus tech, so it looks like he's going to be opting for a slightly different play this time around.
interesting. So we're going to have a 2-base Colossus push coming in. We'll see how Freedom is going to respond to this.
You know, there is a, it was pretty popular for a while, there's a 2 Colossus, 2 Immortal timing for PvZ that is incredibly strong.
Interesting. Is that just basing off of the Zerg player just going Ling Bling Muta standard?
Exactly.
You can see that first Colossus is getting started right now. Not much to contest it on the field.
Yeah, the real key is going to be a proper scout by Freedom.
And we can see right now that Freedom just started his lair, which I really agree with. To get mutas, kind of keep Protoss in their base and do some more initial economic damage.
What's interesting is, man, this Mothership Core has already got a kill. It's just going to keep harassing the worker line and try to pick off a few more, and there aren't any queens or anything down here yet to kind of show it off. First queen's just now coming down.
Man, this Mothership Core is MVP right now because 3 kills and keeping all that mining time lost.
It's really risky. This is an incredibly brave play for Sir Malgant. Most Protoss players are not willing to be that aggressive with the Mothership Core. They keep it back at home. They worry about that defense, but he's making it work.
Yeah, I really like this, and in general, this kind of harass strategy to cover the Colossus at the front door. And you can see that he hasn't revealed this Colossus. He's hiding kind of in the back of his base.
It's a really smart play. I'm surprised that he hasn't started a second one. I'm kind of wondering where he's going with this.
Yeah, and we can see right as you said that, he just started that second Colossus. Here we go, right in that 2 Colossus.
Now, Freedom is switching over to Hydras. I like Hydras against Colossus, especially post-patch, where they have the faster attack rate.
Absolutely, and we can see that Freedom is floating a whole bunch of money, ostensibly to just go and dump a bunch of Hydras as soon as this Hydra gun pops.
Yep, and he's even got his missile attacks being upgraded. The real question is, though, has he actually seen this yet? He still doesn't actually know that these Colossus are on the field. He hasn't even seen the Robo.
Yeah, and this can come as a bit of a rude awakening. We can see that 2 Colossus now are out with a whole bunch of sentries, and they're getting ready to make a push.
And so, you know, it's interesting, though. He is popping a third.
But you can see that he's hiding these Colossus from the Observer. I hope that third is a fake. That would be fantastic.
Oh, but I think... There we go, it's just been revealed. A changeling from Freedom did just spot the Colossus and the Nidus network. Oh man, that's so good. If he Niduses like the main, it'd be so amazing. It would make my day.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't see any Overlords in position to get vision on the main, but we do have one floating over the natural that could lead to a lot of sad times for our Protoss player.
But here comes the big push from Sir Malgant. They're really even in supply. This could be a very tough one for Freedom to hold.
We can see that Zerg player has +1 range over 0-0 Protoss, so we'll see if that can make a difference for this battle.
Oh, and the Nidus network is now coming out behind that third that Sir Malgant is taking. In the meantime, I think Freedom's pretty much just going to abandon this base.
Yeah, and that's going to be a little bit of a tough pill to swallow, but those Sentry force fields were doing exactly as you said, kind of force fielding off that ramp, those rocks that Freedom never got down.
Here, the Hydras are trying to come out. They do pick off the Mothership Core. If they can get on top of those Colossi and snipe them, it could really turn the tide here, but this is going to be tough. Freedom does, however, have the supply lead. Oh, and he's picking them off. He can do this here.
That was a really good play by Freedom. I really like that kind of micro to get on top of those Colossi and make sure that they don't escape back home.
Yeah, that was exactly the right play to make, and now he can just counterattack hard. He's even using that Nidus network to reinforce from behind.
And here we go. We're going to have a pincher move coming in on Sir Malgant's third base. You can see that the Hydras and Roaches are coming in from the left side, and just Stalkers.
This is going to be a really interesting battle. I'm not like with army on both sides. Those force fields, there's not many of them, and they just can't do that much.
Especially with Hydra speeding increase, this Immortal is not going to be able to hold this base alone.
Yeah, I mean that Colossus is getting some shots off, but I don't know that it's going to be enough. This is a really strong position for Freedom.
And we can see Freedom is smelling blood. He's just pushing right up into the net. He thinks he's got this game in the bag.
The key is going to be he needs to get on top of that Colossus as quickly as possible so that it doesn't do too much damage.
I'd like to see Sir Malgant micro that. There we go. Pulling that Colossus back up to the high ground, trying to roast some Hydras from up on high.
I mean, honestly, he's, like, for as strong and scary as this push is, he's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, we can see the work is being pulled off the line, but that Colossus is still alive and protected by a wall of Stalkers.
He's losing a lot of economy. This is definitely still like a winning trade for Freedom, but this is tough.
And we can see that Nidus network is just puking out tons and tons of Zerglings now. 27 workers killed by Freedom,
and now a second Colossus has popped though. I think Sir Malgant's gonna pulp this.
But at what cost, Damon? What cost?
It's true, he only has 2 probes on his natural. His main is fairly mined out. He doesn't have a third, and Freedom just retook a 4th base.
And this is going to be Freedom's comfort zone. He's got 4 bases right now. He's in God mode Zerg status.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting the muscular augments, he's getting that Hydra move speed, he's getting his infestation pit, and Sir Malgant is rebuilding his forge. He's in a really tough position. He has to take a big risk to get himself back in the game, and I think that's what this Warp Prism up at the top is all about.
And here we go. Let's go ahead and see if this Warp Prism can do the damage that he needs. Not really sure what he's going to warp in. If he just does his Zealot warp in, I don't think that's going to be as effective as he hopes.
Unfortunately, too, it was just spotted by an Overlord. So if Freedom is paying attention, he should be able to shut this down. Unfortunately, I don't think he is paying attention. This is a lot of Zealots.
Yeah, let's go ahead and see if these Zealots can do the damage. But they're just sitting there. They need to be moving in on the main base and slicing up some drones.
Yeah, I wonder if he's just waiting for a Warpin cycle to build some more, a couple more. But man, Swarm Hosts are coming out now. That's the, in my opinion, the ultimate get out of this game card.
Manor Swarm Hosts.
But it looks like Freedom has just spotted the Warp Prism and is starting to move his units back into position to deal with this. These are just going to get shut down, and most of these units are going to die.
Oh man, that is not what Sir Malgant needs right now. He's got to be super unhappy about how that went.
I think the problem is just that he got greedy. He tried to wait for that second round of Warpins when he should have just moved with the Zealots he had. He could have done so much damage because Freedom wasn't paying enough attention.
Absolutely. And now you can see right now that Freedom's actually creeped off one of the third locations for Sir Malgant, forcing him into the more exposed by ground position.
That is so frustrating as a Protoss player. I hate when Zergs creep my expansions. Those creep tumors take forever to die.
Yeah, man, that's the best. Bring some queens with your Nidus. But we can see right now, +2 range attack is just about to finish for our Zerg player. He's got a Swarm Host who can go ahead and make use of that, and not a lot on the Protoss side to go ahead and hold that off.
Yeah, I mean, there's even Spire Tech starting to come out. That's going to be rough. Oh, and another Nidus Worm in the main of Sir Malgant. That's just cruel.
And we can go ahead and see that Sir Malgant has indeed spotted this, but his army is way out of position for this.
Yeah, he's not responding. He's going to go for it. He's going to counterattack. Oh, maybe? He's indecisive.
Uh-oh. Hesitation.
Man, he's dropping Niduses everywhere.
See, this is kind of the Zerg variant of mass nuke, where you just go ahead and overwhelm them.
Now, there is some Zealot harass going on down at one of Freedom's expansions, but his Roaches up in the main actually did a fair bit of damage. It's getting cleaned up, but he definitely got some kills.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can see some Roaches walking around at front. I think they're angling for these probes at the third here. I'd like to see Freedom move his Swarm Host out, and you can see he's doing that right now, ejecting his Swarm Host out from the front, and probably going to be going ahead and sieging up the Protoss.
Yeah, at this point, really, Sir Maligan needs an economy. He really needs to get another expansion going somewhere to try to bring himself back in this.
Damon,
Yes.
how about a Dark Shrine?
You know, when behind Dark Shrine, it's a saying for a reason, and it is the sort of thing that normally I would say could be just what he needs to get back in this, but Freedom has detection at every base. I think it's going to be really hard to actually get anything done with those.
Definitely, and we can see on the Units tab, we only have a single observer on the entire map to spot these Swarm Hosts, and unless we have some hero DTs, I'm not sure that he can stop the siege.
It's going to be really, really rough.
You can see right now that these two Colossus are Sir Maligan's lifeblood, but we have 9 Corruptors on the map moving out and getting ready to go ahead and infest and bring down these Colossi.
I would really like to see Freedom getting Enduring Locusts at this point. His Storm Hosts are just not being super effective. Man, those Corruptors just came in and they're instantly sniping stuff. And that Colossus is going to go down.
Almost got away. So close, but it looks like these Corruptors are doing their due diligence, and we can see on the Units Lost tab right now, Protoss has just lost so much more than Zerg.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, those, Freedom is roughly double the supply of his opponent. He's got Swarm Hosts. He's got every tech he could possibly want. There is a Warp Prism that could do some damage here at one of his bases, but I'm not sure that it's going to be enough.
Yeah, and he's kind of just sitting there. He might as well get it using, right? There's not a lot that's there's not a lot of places that he can strike, but it could be useful.
Yeah, I think the problem is he's so focused on trying to stay alive. You know, he's defending his third, but his natural is getting attacked by some roaches. His third is getting attacked by the Swarm Hosts. He's really just doing what he can to hold on.
And you can see Sir Maligan is just really back, literally into a corner here. We've got roaches who are burrowing up into his natural, and Locust sieging him up, keeping him in place.
Yeah, no, this is such a rough position as a Protoss player. You feel helpless. There's just nothing you can do.
I can see Freedom thinking about coming in, but here we go. Here's these DTs. But that got cleaned up quickly.
Freedom is really good about keeping Overseers with his army.
Yeah, and that's something that even these little small victories as Protoss, you let them accumulate too much, and all of a sudden Protoss is back into the game.
Oh man, some burrowed roaches just walked into Sir Maligan's main, and they're sniping the Robo. This is going to be really painful.
Oh, look at all those probes. They want to get out of there. They're going to want to conga line out.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't. Sir Maligan is so focused on dealing with these Corruptors. All of his Colossi are now dead. He's in really rough shape. There's a bunch of DTs again, and I do think he actually sniped all of the Overseers, but I just don't think they're gonna be enough.
Yeah, we can see there was actually a little bit of DT harass happening at Freedom's third, but the one Overseer left went ahead and cleaned that up.
And I mean, there's no economy left really for Sir Maligan at this point.
We can see on this on the income tab that oddly Sir Maligan is not that far behind. Freedom really needs to saturate some of his bases to make sure that he's got that money.
Yeah, I think part of the problem also is he's still only on a 2-base economy. He has the freedom to take lots of bases, and you see he's finally taken another expansion down at the bottom left, but he hasn't really maximized on that.
Oh man, but if Sir Maligan loses his Nexus, which I don't see how he's going to save, that's going to be the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, he can't keep that alive. I mean, he's back to 1 base, he's long distance mining. He lost his DT, he's losing all of his Stalkers. I'm just not sure what he can do.
Yeah, we'll see. We got burrowed roaches doing their little submarine dance coming into the natural again.
Fortunately for Sir Maligan, there is at least a cannon to spot these. But he's just going to ignore that and go back into the main baby dot.
Nope, he is going to get rid of that cannon. But that one DT is going to do so much damage to his roaches.
Yep, there's the Overseers showed up. And I mean, honestly,